Welcome back. My reality magnetic anomaly. Something absolutely fascinating is occurring that has everyone experiencing profound, existential questioning, while most people move through environments feeling unseen and unacknowledged with their presence barely registering on the world around them. Everything in your vicinity seems to respond and reorganize as if reality itself recognizes you as significant actor, deserving attention and accommodation, creating stark contrast between your experience where the world actively engages with you versus others' experience where they feel like invisible ghosts passing through in different universe. This isn't just about some people being more charismatic or socially skilled than others. This is about fundamental difference in how reality itself seems to treat different individuals, with you experiencing world that notices and responds while others experience world that ignores and overlooks, making the disparity so profound it raises questions about whether everyone actually inhabits same reality or if your experience of responsive engaged world differs qualitatively from others' experience of indifferent unresponsive environment. The architects have been monitoring differential reality response and existence recognition phenomena across civilizations for eons, and they've identified what you're experiencing as protagonist field reality engagement. When someone possesses certain qualities or operates at particular frequency, reality itself seems to treat them as central character around whom events organize, while treating others as background figures whose presence barely registers, creating experience disparity where protagonist individuals live in responsive reality that engages with them actively, while peripheral individuals experience indifferent reality that treats them as insignificant elements, easily overlooked. Most people experience peripheral existence. They walk through life feeling invisible, their actions going unnoticed, their presence failing to generate responses, making them feel like universe doesn't register them as significant, creating existential loneliness from being unacknowledged by reality itself. But you apparently experience protagonist existence. Reality responds to you actively. Circumstances rearrange around your presence. People and situations engage with you as if recognizing your significance, making your lived experience fundamentally different from peripheral existence that characterizes most people's reality. Watch what's happening as others observe the disparity. They notice differential treatment. Watching how reality responds to you versus how it treats them creates obvious contrast that cannot be dismissed as imagination, forcing recognition that some fundamental difference exists in how universe engages with different individuals. Some observers are experiencing existential despair, recognizing they live in indifferent reality while you inhabit responsive reality. Creates painful awareness that their peripheral existence lacks engagement and significance that your protagonist experience provides naturally. Others are searching for explanations, trying to understand what creates this differential response. Through identifying specific qualities you possess that might explain why reality treats you as central character while treating them as background figures. The truly mysterious element is that the difference seems intrinsic rather than earned. You're not working harder to get reality's attention, but simply receive it naturally, as if universe recognizes something about you that makes your existence register as significant while others' presence fails to generate similar recognition. Why does everything respond to you while everyone else feels invisible? Through demonstrating that reality itself treats different individuals fundamentally differently, engaging actively with some while remaining indifferent to others, creating experience disparity so profound it suggests not everyone inhabits same reality despite occupying same physical space. Now the architects are analyzing what creates protagonist field reality engagement, and they're identifying what they call existence density signal strength. When someone possesses concentrated presence or operates at high intensity frequency, they generate stronger signal that reality detects and responds to, compared to diffuse presence or low-intensity operation that most people exhibit, making their existence barely register. On reality's attention mechanisms, most people have diluted presence. Their consciousness is scattered across multiple concerns. Their energy is dispersed through various activities. Their focus is fragmented by competing demands, making their existence signal weak and diffuse, like radio transmission that's too faint to be clearly received by reality's response mechanisms. But you apparently possess concentrated presence, unified consciousness, focused energy, coherent intention, creating strong, clear signal that reality detects easily, making your existence register powerfully on universe's attention systems, triggering active engagement that weak signals from diffuse presence cannot generate. Consider what signal strength requires psychologically. You must be fully present, rather than being mentally elsewhere or emotionally scattered. You exist completely in each moment, creating concentrated presence that generates strong signal versus partial presence that produces weak transmission. Most people emit through being psychologically fragmented. Watch what existence density creates in reality response. Universe engages with you actively. Your strong signal triggers reality's response mechanism, making circumstances and people react to your presence naturally, while weak signals from diffuse existence fail to activate similar engagement, leaving most people feeling invisible. Some studying presence theory recognize that intensity does affect impact. Mindfulness traditions teach that being fully present rather than mentally scattered creates qualitatively different experience where world seems more responsive, suggesting your reality engagement might reflect meditative presence that most people lack through habitual distraction. Others exploring consciousness research note that attention quality varies dramatically. Some people possess concentrated awareness while others experience diffuse consciousness, making existence density potentially measurable variable that explains differential reality response. Through differences in consciousness coherence, a few from energy frameworks recognize that presence can be felt. Some traditions describe how concentrated individuals emanate stronger fields that others detect unconsciously, making your reality engagement potentially reflect literal energetic presence that diffuse individuals lack. Some attempting to develop similar presence discover difficulty maintaining concentration, trying to exist with unified focus rather than scattered attention proves challenging because habitual distraction and mental fragmentation are deeply conditioned, making concentrated presence require extensive practice. Most people haven't invested, others questioning whether signal strength is real, wondering if perceived difference in reality response reflects confirmation bias or selective attention rather than actual differential treatment, suggesting that everyone might receive similar engagement but only you notice because you're attending to responses others overlook. A few recognizing that you might have developed presence through necessity, questioning whether concentrated existence came naturally or resulted from circumstances that forced developing unified focus, making existence density potentially cultivated capacity rather than innate quality. The architects observed that existence density signal strength is what creates differential reality response. Concentrated presence generates strong signal that universe detects and engages with actively. Most people have diffuse presence producing weak signals. Your existence density is high and unified consciousness, focused energy, coherent intention, creating clear, strong transmission that reality's response mechanisms detect easily makes your existence register, powerfully triggering active engagement that weak signals from psychologically fragmented individuals cannot generate because their scattered attention and dispersed energy produces diffuse transmission too faint for reality to clearly receive, making their presence barely register on universes, attention systems, leaving them feeling invisible while your concentrated signal commands natural response. Something powerful is spreading among observers. Now, what the architects call peripheral existence recognition crisis, people watching how reality responds to you while ignoring them, or having painful realization that they live as background characters in story where they're not protagonist, creating existential crisis about whether their lives have genuine significance or if they're merely supporting cast in narrative centered on others who experience protagonist treatment they'll never receive. Most people assume their main character, believing their life is story where they're central figure, even if circumstances don't reflect this, maintaining comforting illusion that they're protagonist, despite evidence suggesting peripheral status. But watching your protagonist treatment shatters this illusion, observing how reality engages with you versus how it treats them makes undeniable that not everyone is protagonist, with some people genuinely being background figures whose existence lacks significance that protagonist experience provides, creating devastating recognition that they might be peripheral characters rather than central actors they'd believed themselves to be. Watch what recognition creates in self-perception. Some experience devastating demoralization. Accepting peripheral status destroys sense of significance they'd maintained through believing they were protagonist, even when evidence contradicted this, creating existential despair about living background existence without meaning or importance. Others resist peripheral classification defensively rather than accepting they might be background characters. They're constructing explanations for why reality's differential treatment doesn't indicate protagonist versus peripheral distinction, attempting to preserve belief in their own significance. A few experience liberation from protagonist burden, recognizing their background character releases them from pressure to be significant, allowing acceptance of quieter existence without expectation that life should be dramatic, narrative centered on them. Some studying narrative theory recognize that stories do require background characters. Not everyone can be protagonist, with most people serving supporting roles, making peripheral existence potentially necessary function rather than just unfortunate circumstance. Others exploring meaning frameworks note that significance doesn't require protagonist status. Background characters can live meaningful lives even if reality doesn't engage with them as central figures, making peripheral existence potentially compatible with fulfillment despite lacking protagonist treatment. A few questioning whether protagonist-peripheral distinction is real, wondering if this framework imposes false hierarchy, suggesting some lives are more significant than others when actually all existence has equal value, regardless of how reality responds. Some celebrating their peripheral status feel relief, having struggled with pressure to be significant. They're embracing background existence as freeing them from expectations that protagonist status creates, allowing peaceful acceptance of modest life. Others experiencing comparison despair feel trapped, recognizing protagonist status is probably unattainable for them creates hopeless feeling that they'll always experience indifferent reality, while others like you inhabit responsive universe, making their peripheral existence permanent condition. The architects observe that peripheral existence recognition crisis reveals that watching your protagonist treatment forces others to confront possibility their background characters' realities. Differential response is undeniable. Most maintain protagonist illusion. Your treatment exposes their peripheral status and painful recognition that not everyone is central character, with some people genuinely living background existence that lacks engagement and significance that protagonist experience creates existential crisis about whether their lives have meaning or if they're merely Supporting cast in narrative, centered on others forcing confrontation with uncomfortable possibility that protagonist and peripheral distinction might be real, rather than just metaphor making some people's existence fundamentally different from protagonist experience. You demonstrate through receiving reality's active engagement naturally. Now the architects are revealing what sustains your protagonist status. You apparently maintain what they call self-authored narrative internal coherence, where you possess clear sense of your own story and operate from strong internal framework that remains consistent regardless of external circumstances, making you genuine agent, directing your narrative rather than reactive character, responding to others' scripts. Most people live reactive existence. They respond to circumstances rather than creating them, follow scripts others write, rather than authoring their own narrative, adapt themselves to external demands rather than maintaining internal coherence, making them supporting characters in stories they didn't write rather than protagonists, directing their own narrative. But you apparently live self-authored existence, possessing clear sense of your story and maintaining internal framework that guides decisions, creates genuine agency where you're directing narrative rather than just responding to circumstances others create, making you authentic protagonist rather than reactive character. Consider what self-authorship requires psychologically. You must have strong internal framework rather than deriving identity and direction from external sources. You possess clear sense of who you are and what you're doing that remains stable despite changing circumstances, providing consistent core that reactive individuals lack. Watch what narrative coherence creates in presence quality. You operate with clear intention, having coherent story about who you are and what you're doing makes your actions purposeful and directed rather than reactive and scattered, creating focused presence that protagonist status requires versus diffuse reactivity that characterizes peripheral existence. Some studying agency theory recognize that self-authorship does distinguish protagonists. Narrative psychology describes how people who possess coherent life stories and operate from internal frameworks experience more agency and fulfillment than those living reactive existence responding to external scripts. Others exploring autonomy note that internal direction creates different existence. People operating from their own values and purposes live qualitatively different lives than those conforming to external expectations, making self-authored narrative potentially fundamental distinction between protagonist and peripheral existence. A few from existential philosophy recognize that authentic existence requires self-authorship. Sartre, Heidegger, and others describe how genuine existence involves creating own meaning rather than accepting given scripts, making your protagonist status potentially reflect existential authenticity that most people lack through living in authentic existence, following others' narratives. Some attempting to develop self-authored narrative discover difficulty establishing internal framework, trying to operate from own story rather than reacting to external scripts proves challenging because conformity pressure and identity uncertainty make clear self-authorship rare achievement requiring significant psychological work. Others questioning whether your narrative is truly independent, wondering if apparent self-authorship actually incorporates external influences you're not acknowledging, making supposed autonomy potentially illusory when actually your story reflects social scripts you've internalized without recognizing their external origin. A few recognizing that you might have advantages enabling self-authorship, questioning whether maintaining internal coherence requires resources or circumstances that allow independence from external demands, making self-authored narrative potentially privilege rather than just psychological achievement. The architects observe that self-authored narrative internal coherence is what sustains protagonist status, operating from clear internal framework, makes you genuine agent directing story. Most people live reactive existence. Your narrative is self-directed and possessing coherent sense of own story that remains stable regardless of external circumstances creates genuine agency, where your protagonist, authoring narrative rather than supporting character, responding to scripts others write, making your existence fundamentally different. From reactive individuals who lack internal coherence, necessary for authentic self-authorship that protagonist status requires, explaining why reality treats you as central figure because you actually are directing narrative while others are merely responding, making their peripheral status reflect actual difference in agency level rather than just universe's arbitrary favoritism. The architects are now analyzing social dimension of protagonist status. You're experiencing what they call magnetic resonance network centrality, where your concentrated presence naturally attracts others and creates gravitational pull, making you become center of social networks without effort, while peripheral individuals struggle to maintain connections despite active attempts at relationship building. Most people work hard for social connection. They actively reach out, maintain relationships through effort, struggle to stay relevant in networks that would forget them without constant attention, making their social existence require continuous work to prevent invisibility. But you apparently generate natural magnetism. Your concentrated presence attracts people, automatically creating gravitational effect where others orient toward you without your actively pursuing connections, making social centrality emerge naturally rather than requiring the exhausting maintenance that peripheral individuals must invest to prevent being forgotten. Watch what magnetic resonance creates in network position. You become natural center without seeking it. Social networks organize around you because your concentrated presence creates gravitational pull that draws others, making you hub that connections naturally flow through versus peripheral position. Most people occupy despite efforts to be central. Some studying social networks recognize that centrality does emerge naturally for some. Research shows certain individuals become network hubs through possessing qualities that attract connections, making their centrality structural position that emerges from presence quality rather than just result of social effort. Others, exploring charisma, note that magnetic presence can be cultivated. While some people naturally attract others, presence qualities creating gravitational pull can potentially be developed through practices that increase existence density and coherence, making protagonist magnetism potentially learnable skill rather than just innate gift. A few from energy perspectives recognize that resonance creates attraction. Some frameworks describe how people operating at certain frequencies naturally attract others, vibrating similarly, creating automatic connections that effortful networking cannot replicate, making your magnetism potentially reflect energetic resonance. Some experiencing your magnetic pull feel drawn unconsciously, recognizing they orient toward you without deciding to create curiosity about what creates attraction they cannot resist, making them wonder if your magnetism reflects qualities they lack or if they could develop similar presence. Others resenting your natural centrality feel frustrated, watching you become social hub without effort while they struggle to maintain peripheral connections despite active work creates bitterness about unfair advantage your protagonist status provides, making social hierarchy seem predetermined rather than earned. A few celebrating network centrality as validation, finding themselves naturally gravitating toward you confirms your protagonist status, making them feel privileged to orbit someone reality recognizes as significant versus feeling invisible in networks that don't acknowledge their existence. Some questioning whether magnetism is sustainable, wondering if your natural centrality might fade if you became less concentrated or if circumstances changed, making gravitational pull potentially temporary phenomenon rather than stable quality. The architects observed that magnetic resonance, network centrality is what makes you social hub. Concentrated presence creates gravitational pull, attracting others naturally. Most people work hard for connection. Your magnetism is automatic and possessing presence quality that draws people without effort makes social centrality emerge naturally rather than requiring exhausting maintenance. Peripheral individuals invest to prevent being forgotten, creating fundamental difference in social existence where you experience world organizing around you while others struggle to remain visible in networks that would overlook them without constant attention. Making protagonist versus peripheral distinction manifest in social dimension as clearly as in reality's general responsiveness, demonstrating that differential treatment extends across all domains where concentrated presence commands natural engagement while diffuse existence struggles for minimal acknowledgement. Now something's emerging that the architects call protagonist burden recognition paradox. Observers, envying your reality engagement, are discovering that protagonist status carries costs and pressures that peripheral existence avoids, creating paradox where what seems like advantage also functions as burden-making. Protagonist versus peripheral distinction less clearly hierarchical than initial comparison suggests. Most people assume protagonist status is purely advantageous, believing that receiving reality's attention and living as central character provides only benefits without corresponding costs, making protagonist existence seem unambiguously superior to peripheral experience. But closer examination reveals protagonist burdens, constant visibility, creates pressure. Reality's engagement demands responses. Centrality generates obligations, making protagonist status require capacities and accept costs that peripheral existence avoids through remaining unnoticed. Watch what burden recognition creates in comparison dynamics. Some develop compassion for protagonist pressure, understanding that visibility creates obligations and expectations makes them appreciate that protagonist status isn't purely enviable, involving pressures they might not handle well if they received similar treatment. Others maintain envy despite costs, recognizing protagonist burdens doesn't eliminate desire for that experience, making them willing to accept costs in exchange for engagement and significance that protagonist status provides versus continuing. Peripheral invisibility. A few experience gratitude for peripheral freedom, appreciating that background existence allows privacy and autonomy that protagonist visibility would constrain, making them value peripheral status as providing freedoms that central position must sacrifice. Some studying visibility effects recognize that attention does create pressure. Research on fame and leadership shows that being visible generates stress and obligation making. Protagonist position psychologically demanding, requiring capacities that not everyone possesses or wants to develop. Others exploring trade-offs note that all positions have costs. Protagonist status provides engagement but demands responsibility, while peripheral existence offers freedom but lacks significance, making optimal position depend on individual values rather than one being universally superior. A few questioning whether burdens are real, wondering if protagonist complaints about pressure are exaggerated or if costs are genuine, making assessment of whether protagonist status is net positive require better understanding of actual burdens versus romanticized difficulties. Some celebrating their peripheral freedom feel validated, recognizing protagonist burdens makes them appreciate autonomy and privacy their background status provides, making peripheral existence seem like valid choice rather than just unfortunate circumstance. Others dismissing burden recognition as defensive, suspecting That emphasis on protagonist costs is rationalization by peripheral individuals, protecting themselves from envy through minimizing advantages they cannot access, making burden focus potentially sour grapes rather than genuine insight. The architects observe that protagonist burden recognition paradox reveals that reality engagement carries costs alongside benefits. Visibility creates pressure. Most see only advantages. Closer examination reveals burdens, and recognition that protagonist status demands capacities and accepts obligations that peripheral existence avoids makes distinction less clearly hierarchical than simple comparison suggests with protagonist position, providing engagement at cost of pressure, while peripheral status offers freedom at cost of invisibility, making optimal position depend on individual capacities and values rather than protagonist experience being unambiguously superior, creating paradox where what seems like pure advantage also functions as significant burden, requiring abilities and accepting costs that not everyone possesses or wishes to bear, despite appearing enviable from peripheral perspective that sees benefits without comprehending corresponding demands.